There we go. Okay, guys, so this is lesson 4 for our grade 12 essential math students. So let's learn how insurance works for vehicles. This is an enormous amount of the cost of operating a car or a truck or an SUV or whatever. When you purchase or lease a vehicle, you are required by law to register it, to buy license plates for it, and to buy insurance for it. It's like, well, I don't want to pay for insurance. Can't I just drive without having insurance? I'll take the risk. Sorry, it's the law here in Canada. You cannot drive an uninsured vehicle on public roads. Vehicle insurance systems and regulations vary from location to location. Here in Manitoba, basic coverage must be purchased from Manitoba Public Insurance. Here in Manitoba, the only company that you can get your vehicle insurance from is a government corporation, also called a crown corporation. And that actually works out in our favor. There are 2 provinces in Canada where there is private options for insurance. Both of them are considerably more expensive to insure your car than Manitoba. So it is cheaper for us that it is a government system. Okay? The name that we have given, gentlemen, the name we've given to the Manitoba Public Insurance system is called Autopac. When you buy insurance, this is the same word we used back when we were talking about home insurance in the last unit. When you buy insurance, your payment, or how much you pay, is called your premium. So do we all just pay the same amount no matter what car we drive? No. Where we drive, what kind of car we drive, these are the things that determine how much our vehicle insurance is. So let's call that number 1. Number 1 is the type of vehicle. Obviously, the more expensive your vehicle would be to fix if you got into an accident, the more money you're going to pay for insurance. Actually, most insurance here in Manitoba, most accidents are considered no fault. Unless somebody was hurt, unless there was a traffic violation, somebody did something against the law that caused the accident, like they made an illegal turn or they ran through a red light or they were speeding, we would consider it, hey, we just ran into each other. Our insurance company, Autopac, would say, we're not going to blame either party. You both pay your deductible, and we fix both cars if they're worth fixing. Most collisions are no fault here in Manitoba. I say most because, again, if one of the people driving was clearly breaking the law, was driving under the influence, was speeding, made an illegal turn or something like that, then yes, that person would have to pay for both deductibles, and I wouldn't have to pay for my deductible if the other person was breaking the law or speeding or was under the influence or whatever. Okay? But for the most part, most claims in insurance are no fault. All right. What do we mean by type of vehicle? We mean how old it is, what kind of vehicle, what model it is. Some vehicles withstand collisions better than others. Vehicle characteristics is the word we're looking for here. And passenger protection features and repair costs all affect your premiums. There's different ranking systems based on if you drive a car, a light truck, or a van, or if you drive a motorcycle or a moped. All of these things need to be insured to be on the road. Okay, the second thing that affects how much you pay for insurance is where you live. Here's how they break up Manitoba. If you live in Territory 2, which is not Winnipeg. Winnipeg itself is Territory 1. If you live in Territory 2, but you drive into Winnipeg every day, we call you a commuter, and you have to pay more than you would if you lived in Territory 2, but you don't drive into the city every day. That should make sense. The more likely that you're going to be in a collision, is based on how much city driving you do. It's not that accidents don't happen in the highways and in the small towns, they do, but they're more likely to happen in the city. So if you live in Territory 2 but you drive to the city, even if it's not every day, notice the first example, a student lives in Territory 2 but travels to Winnipeg twice a week to attend university. They have to register as a commuter. It's like, well, I don't want to pay more. I'm not going to tell Autopac that I commute to the city. Well, insurance claims get investigated. If you have lied to your insurer, they don't have to pay for your claim. That's the law. That's the rules. Okay, we're back. Okay, so that's Territories 1 and 2. Territory 1 is Winnipeg. Territory 2 is around Winnipeg, southern Manitoba. And if you're in Territory 2, it's conceivable you do drive to Winnipeg more than once a week or twice a week. So you'd have to be a commuter. If you change address, if you move, listening? If you move, you have 15 days to let MPIC know that you've moved so that they can adjust your insurance. If you don't tell them you move, once again, you could have voided your insurance and they don't have to pay for your claim. The big part is your driving record, and this chart that's in your notes was put in last year in the booklet, and it's already out of date. I'll show you what it looks like now. It looks pretty much the same, but the numbers are different starting this year. Starting in April of 2023, these numbers no longer are true, but here's how it works. Drivers who maintain a safe driving record get a discount on their Autopac premiums. Premium discounts depend on premium discounts depend on things like, for example, your well, technically it's called your driver safety rating. And that depends on how many times you have committed a traffic violation. Now, if you get a speeding ticket from one of the automatic cameras, it won't count against your driver safety rating because, of course, they don't know for sure who was driving the car. That goes against the registration for the vehicle. You have to pay those up before you can re-register your vehicle, but it doesn't affect your driver safety rating. However, if you are pulled over by the police for speeding, yeah, that counts. So I put a link to this on the blog. I'll show you how to find it just without the blog. If you just open up Google, you can do this on your phone right now if you like, and just type in MPIC. Don't worry, I'll put it on the screen. Type in MPIC, it'll say Manitoba Public Insurance. Click on there. And under search, because there's lots of stuff on this website, under search, type in driver safety rating. And up should come, eventually, my computer's slow, up should come the driver safety rating scale. Okay, and if you actually look at this right here, there's a brochure, driver safety rating brochure. That was a lot of work to find that. That's why I actually put a direct link for this on today's blog update. Driver safety rating brochure. So if you go to my blog, you can look it up. But here's the chart that should be in your notes right now. It's just taking its sweet time loading. Come on. Come on, website. Internet's very slow. There we go. So this, in a few years ago, MPIC used to just give us these brochures so I could actually hand them out to students in class, but I guess cutbacks, they're trying to save money. They won't do that anymore. They'll just say, oh, go online and look at it. So that's what we're doing. We're online looking at it. So here's the driver safety rating scale. Feel free to just look at the screen then if you can't get it on your own device. Okay, so this is the driver safety rating scale. Trying to make this a little bit bigger. There we go. And notice that the scale peaks out at 17. Right now, if you're a brand new driver, you're sitting at 0. You have to earn pluses by having years where you haven't had any claims, any traffic accidents, any traffic violations. But of course, every time you do get one of those, you get minuses. Here's how they work. I'll scroll down a little past this. If you make it to the top of the chart, if you make it after years of driving with no incidents to plus 17, you get, scroll down here and you'll see, you get 40% savings on your insurance. That's the maximum you can get, is you can save 40% on your insurance. If you're at 0, of course, you get 0% saving on your insurance. And if you're in the negatives, again, you get 0 savings on your insurance. And the cost of your license goes up. So here's how it works. Your highest risk drivers pay up to $3,000 to renew their license, whereas some people pay much, much less than that. Here's how the scale works. Safe driving moves you up the scale. High risk driving, traffic convictions, at fault claims. So yes, an insurance came in and you were at fault for causing it. Alcohol or drug related suspensions move you down the scale. Here's how it works. There's some Q&As you can read yourself here. But here's how some of them work. If you don't obey a traffic sign, meaning you go through a stop sign and you get caught, -2 on the scale. If you're speeding less than 50 kilometers an hour above the speed limit, 2 levels down the scale. They catch you driving without your seatbelt, -2 on the scale. Careless driving, meaning that they pulled you over because it was very clear you weren't paying attention, you were wandering out of your lane, that kind of thing, or they see that you are looking at your handheld device instead of looking at the road, -5 on the scale. Boy, notice that that's worse than speeding a little bit, and yes, it is. Statistically, it is more dangerous. At least people speeding a little bit are paying attention to what they're doing, right? Now, okay, if you got a question, ask. Otherwise, be quiet, please. Thank you. Driving while impaired by drugs or alcohol, -10 down the scale. Okay, question.
What happens if you drove off-road?
The question, in case the microphone didn't pick it up, is what if you drove off of the road and into the ditch and then onto a park or something? You were driving on a sidewalk, you were driving somewhere you're not supposed to. That's a good question. I'm going to assume that would be along the lines of careless driving, right? A significant amount of what kind of ticket and how many demerits or how many negatives you're going to get is going to be based on the judgment of the police officer who gave you the ticket, right? Much like, well, like for example in hockey, right? There's high-sticking minors and there's high-sticking majors. It's like, you carelessly drove off the road and in the ditch, maybe -2, careless driving. You drove off the road onto a sidewalk where there were pedestrians. That might be more than -2. But that's going to come up to the judgment of the people handing out the ticket. You were doing laps in Kirkbridge Park?
No, I wasn't. I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, you shouldn't do that. Okay. Let's see. There should be something coming up here. I think again my screen is. Oh, there we go. Okay, sorry. No, it's over here. Okay, more serious ones are over here. Here we go. Here's the serious ones. If you are speeding more than 50 kilometers an hour over the speed limits, -10. So that'd be like doing 150 on the perimeter highway. Or imagine somebody driving down Killarney here doing 100. That's -10. And wait till you see how much money -10 is going to cost you. Leaving the scene of an accident without exchanging registration information or waiting for the police, -10 down the scale. And of course, impaired driving causing death, -15. Not to mention the fact that you could go to jail. Okay, so you can read through this brochure yourself to see the rest of it. But here's how the scale works for, okay, let me see if I can find it. Give me a second here. DSR, there we go. So if you are at 0, because again, you're a new driver, you don't have any pluses or minuses yet, you get, it costs you $45 to renew your license. and it's 0% discount on your insurance. After a year of driving safely, I believe you get up to +2. And then, hey, your license went down $5, and you get 10% off of your insurance. If you get to 17, +17, so again, that would be like, I guess that'd be about 8 or 9 years of safe driving without any accidents or claims against you or tickets. You could get up to the point where your license is only $15, and it's 40% off of your insurance. That's a lot. Now, on the other hand, if you start racking up speeding tickets or other violations, -1, your license jumps to $200.
What?
And of course, all of these you get no discount on any insurance. And if you work your way down to the very bottom of the scale, like they said, your license could cost you $3,000. What would it take to get to -20? Well, that would be, a couple of -10s, right? A driving under the influence charge, speeding more than 50 kilometers above the speed limit. By that time, you might even have your license taken away from you. And never forget, I think they tell you this in driver's ed, you do not have a right to a driver's license. A driver's license is not your right in this society, it's a privilege. The government can take it away from you anytime they deem it fit. No trial is necessary.
Even if you did nothing wrong?
Well, that's not true. I mean, that's not going to happen. The question says, even if you did nothing wrong, obviously, you will have done something wrong to lose your driver's license. But it is not your right to have one. It is a privilege. Okay, so that's the scale. And then let's figure out the insurance side. So the insurance side, again, you can go to the home page here. Go to home. And actually, let's finish off the notes and then we'll do this. So there's a few other things to do this on your notes. So I kind of went through all this. How do you insure your vehicle? You have to tell your insurer how you're going to use your vehicle. So are you using it for pleasure, which means you're not driving it to work or school more than 4 days in a month? It's just my go get some groceries, head to the cabin kind of vehicle maybe. That's a pleasure vehicle. An all-purpose vehicle means that you drive it to or from work or school. There's some other different categories, like people who use their vehicles for work, like say that you have a work vehicle or you're a farmer, you use your vehicle to do your job. Those are a little different. And of course, there's things like mobile homes, trailers, motorcycles. They have their own insurance. Other factors that impact the cost of your insurance are, this is almost not worth writing down anymore because I bet there's people in here who maybe have never been in a vehicle that doesn't have one of these. Do you know what this is? Do you know what your immobilizer is? No. The immobilizer, the answer was, is that the brakes? No, the immobilizer is something that's usually on the keys of your car. It's usually built into the key. Let me grab my car keys here. If you have a key like this, it's got kind of a wide base in here, the immobilizer's in here. It's an electronic chip that if this thing isn't close enough to the car when you try to start it, it won't start. So anybody who's trying to steal your car, even if you have this part of the key, it'll go in, it'll turn, but it won't engage the engine because the computer chip in here is not close enough to the car to turn it on. Okay, that's right. Well, if you have that, you still have a fob, right? You have a plastic piece like this that has to be in the vehicle to start the vehicle, or it has to be near enough to start the vehicle. Okay, so that's your immobilizer. If you have a vehicle that doesn't have an immobilizer, you will pay more for insurance because your car is now easier to steal. Most cars now are just, they're designed so they come with an immobilizer. All right, next. Another thing that changes or impacts how much you pay for your insurance is how much your deductible is, just like in home insurance. If I make a claim, it costs me money. The lower I want my deductible, the more I'm paying for my insurance. Next is, again, we saw this in home finance, your third-party liability. In other words, if you are sued because of something that happened with your vehicle while you were driving, your insurance will pay to cover the settlement up to a certain amount. You can pay for how much you want that amount to be able to be covered. Okay, what if my vehicle's in an accident and I need it to get to work or get to school? I can pay so that my insurance covers how much I pay to rent another vehicle while mine's being fixed. This is called loss of use coverage. Now, if my vehicle is not the way that I get to work or school, it's my pleasure vehicle, or if perhaps, like in my situation, I have 3 vehicles at home, and if something happened to one of the vehicles, me and my wife could just carpool using one of the other ones, so I don't pay for loss of use coverage. I'm okay without it. So that one's optional. Okay. And of course, there are some extra insurance options. I'll just tack that on there. We'll see what that means, what that looks like in a minute. And then, do you want to pay your insurance once a month, 4 times a year, or just all at once a year? So that's your payment options. I think that's the only 3 options you have. Monthly, 4 times per year, or once a year. I think that's the only 3 options. You know what? We'll know in a minute because we're going to go try a vehicle. We'll use mine. So, everybody caught up to me? Okay, I'll give you a sec. Okay, once again, the easiest place to find this is to just go to the blog. Here, I'm going to close this and see if it opens from the blog faster. So on today's blog update, I'll answer your question in a minute. So let's go to the blog. We're going to go to the MPIC insurance rate calculator. So I'll open that in a new tab. And okay, so here's the insurance rate calculator. So let's do my vehicle. I have a passenger vehicle. It's not a truck. So I click here. I need to know what year my vehicle is made. My minivan is a 2011, and then I click list make. And okay, so my vehicle is a Toyota, and then it's going to ask me what my model is. I believe it's a Sienna, and it's a Sienna LE. I have to know which exact model it is. Different vehicles have lots of different models, right? This model has 4-wheel drive. This model has fancy heated seats and all that kind of stuff. Every vehicle that has slightly different modifications has its own model number. So you have to know exactly what model it is to figure out your insurance yourself. I have the 4-cylinder one, 2-wheel drive.
What is a 2-wheel drive?
2-wheel drive means that only two of the wheels of the car are being pushed by the engine, instead of all 4 of them. Okay, so the 2-wheel drive is the one I have. And again, obviously, the more wheels are being turned by the engine, the more parts you have, the more it's going to cost to insure, because in an accident, there's more stuff to fix. So 4-wheel drives cost more to insure than 2-wheel drives. But they're nice to have, and especially in bad weather like we have lots of snow and stuff. But for my minivan, I'm happy with the 2-wheel drive. Okay, we continue. It's going to ask you where you live. I'll use the school's address here, R3T3B3. When you're trying this yourself, feel free to use your own postal code if you know it. Verify that. Continue. And now we pick, is this my all-purpose or a pleasure vehicle? Obviously, I'm not a farmer. And it's like, oh, hey, layup. Yeah, I play basketball. Is it layups? No, that's not what they mean by layup. Layup means this is a vehicle that I'm insuring right now just in case something happens to it, but it's not on the road right now. Maybe I have it in storage till the summer because it's my summer vehicle, or maybe I'm working on it. Maybe it's my hobby vehicle and I'm just, I'm ordering parts for it and I'm working on it. Some people, their vehicle is their hobby. They work on it, they've got a classic vehicle that they're restoring or something. You still want to have it insured in case, your garage burns down or somebody drives into it or something. So, or you just take it for a drive around the street to see if it's working right now. So you don't need like full insurance on it, but you need to have it insured in case something happens to it. That's called layup insurance. I had to look up what do they mean by layup insurance. It means that your vehicle is not necessarily on the road right now. It's either being stored or it's being worked on. Okay, I'm going to say that my vehicle is all-purpose because I drive it to school. Continue. Now, I happen to know that I have not had a speeding ticket or anything in over 20 years, so my discount is 40%. I would like a low deductible, so I'll pick the 300. I would like a high third-party liability. If you drive and you carpool, it's a good idea to have this number high. Because if you're driving somebody, this is one of the sad, strange things about the world we live in and the society we have organized when it comes to insurance. But if you're driving somebody and you get in an accident and it's your fault, sometimes they have no choice but to sue you so that they can get enough money to live off of if they can't afford to work right, or they can't go to work right now because they're too injured. So if you don't have good third-party liability insurance, well, then I guess they could dock your salary, lien against your home, that kind of thing. So I'm going to pick a good one. I'm going to pick $1 million. 500,000 is the minimum, you'll notice. Do I need loss of use? I don't need it. So I'm going to say no, I don't need it. Do I want new vehicle protection? This is a 2011. It's not a brand new vehicle. So no, I don't need extra insurance to protect me because it's a brand new car. And I am not leasing this vehicle. So no, I'm not going to select that. Notice it says optional. Is the vehicle worth more than $70,000? No, so I don't need extra insurance. How do I want to pay? Every month, please. Okay, anybody want to guess? How much do you think I'm paying a year for insurance? Around 2,000? That's probably not a bad guess. It's a little lower than that, I think. Here's the calculated estimate. $1,419, which is $118 a month. Notice that the answers are right there. You are going to try to do this yourself now. So hopefully you can get this to work on your phone. If not, you'd have to do it at a computer. You could do it in the library. You could do it at home. But there we go. That's how you're going to do the questions on the worksheet I'm about to give you. Okay, that's all that I need to do for this video, so I'm going to shut it off.